Welcome back to another episode of Psychonaut Sessions, your home for all things psycho. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, Daniel Moeller. And today, we're not going to talk about drug wars, but I want to harken back to my drug wars episode. I'll have that link in the description. So I covered the comic Drug Wars by Hal Schuster and Mike Clark. Hal Schuster is the editor and publisher of what is known as Pioneer Comics. So Pioneer Comics, we talked about previously. It was around for a very small amount of time during the early to mid 80s. They mostly handled some IPs like Mandrake the Magician and things like that, and they tried to create their own sort of line of books, independent books. One of them was Drug Wars, and another one was the one I was really hoping to look for, and I think these were the only two that they produced. But this other one was Vegas Nights. So this is actually Vegas Nights. This is the book for it. And just like Drug Wars, the cover is basically the ad for each side. So these are the main two books that Pioneer Comics put out. To my knowledge, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I'm actually looking forward to updating some of the information on the Grand Comics database online. Because there's not enough regarding this company and any of the stuff that they did put out. So I'm really excited. Immediately, this cover drew me. Just like Drug Wars, the cover is Mike Grell and Damian Willick. So they both did the covers of these books. This cover blew my mind. I love it. I could frame this cover, and it would be one of my most prized possessions if I could get a print of this. Just absolute killer. Love how the logo of Vegas Nights looks like it's one of the signs that are on the Vegas Strip. And then we got this vampire. This book is essentially about vampire gangs in Vegas. How can you not get better than that, ladies and gentlemen? You can't, actually. You cannot get better than this. So let's dive in, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some other things in the back. So the cover, or the letter in the inside here is just like the editor letter from from Drug Wars. It just talks about all the books that they're wanting to put out. The other ones are CoverGirl and Star Wolves. I have not seen those. If anybody knows how to get a hold of CoverGirl or Star Wolves, I would like to have the entire Pioneer Comics portfolio in hand. And so here we can actually see that they are advertising Drug Wars in Vegas Nights, and then you can also see the other IPs that they're putting out, like Mandrake, like I mentioned. Jungle Gym, Prince Valiant was the other big one. I don't know why I couldn't think of Prince Valiant. So they did kind of put out reproductions of those and continued those IPs for a while. So let's dive right in. Immediately we get I need to talk about the creators here. So it's written by James Van Hise and the artist is Tom Raney. James Van Hise wrote a bunch of Star Trek oriented and other books called Batmania and whatnot, along with Hal Schuster. They're both big Trekkie fans. So a lot of those were produced by Hal Schuster's publishing company, of which Pioneer Comics was I think a subsidiary of. So worked with him a lot, and also worked with a lot of people from Pioneer Comics. And Tom Raney, this is one of his earliest works. This is 1989. Tom Raney actually went on to do a bunch of stuff, especially for Marvel, and is responsible for the entire Annihilation Conquest limited series. For those of you that are really into Marvel Annihilation. So this is his earliest work. So here we get this immediate splash page, and we have a ninja. It's the 80s, man. Absolutely, 100%. Glitter Gulch is the specific name for this story in this issue. So the colors so far working pretty fine. You can see how the ink sort of drowns out some of the definition, especially later in the book. Unfortunately, the color processing back then, if you couldn't get your colors right, or if they were too dark, it just bleeds over the rest of the inks, unfortunately. But love the silhouette in the background here. Got some throwing stars. So we can tell this ninja is facing off with someone, looks like in an alley. So we see her throwing these stars, and the adversary she's fighting against, evidently, it's not hurting him at all. He keeps coming after her. And so she's like, I want to kill you. And he's like, if I really thought you could kill me, I'd let you try. Ooh, very sad statement. Sounds like one of my despondent teenagers or something. So, really cool opening sequence here. We don't know a lot about what's going on. He obviously looks like some sort of undead character, but not a vampire, ladies and gentlemen. And then going forward, we meet this fellow who owns a casino here in Vegas, and of course he's dressed like Elvis Presley because why not? And apparently is really into sword fighting. So his name is, oh gosh, what is it? I should have reviewed this beforehand. Don Marco or something like that, I think. So he is a Don, so to speak, but he tries his best to run a clean casino. So he's talking with his assistant here, and talking about how this gang has come in, and evidently they're from Stoker International. Stoker International, Bram Stoker, and they're coming in and sweeping up all the casinos, and they're strong arming a lot of the casino owners apparently into selling out, buying them off, so on and so forth. This guy is very proud of being able to have a casino that is no longer tied to the mob in any way, shape, or form. And they even kind of talk about how in the 60s and 70s, this was Vegas was a mob-controlled town up until then. And then they ended up kind of getting pushed out. So he tries to run a clean operation, and he's really proud of that. And actually, really great movie, Martin Scorsese, Casino. Kind of talks all about those final days of the mob in Vegas. So just, you gotta watch it. Excellent, excellent movie. So anyway, and then we cut to a group of individuals that are in some other casino. And they say it's basically Stoker International's latest acquisition. So it's another casino that they've acquired, and you get these individuals that are guarding this particular room, and it's the casino room that's completely destroyed. There are dead bodies everywhere, and then there's this fellow who's got a cloak and a cane, but you don't see his face throughout the whole comic, and he's got long, sharp fingernails. And is trying to take out basically the head of this particular casino. A lot of the casinos apparently back then were very Asian oriented. So there was, I guess, a big influx of like Japanese, especially casino owners back in the 80s. I'm assuming because that's apparently the majority of the casino owners in this town at this point. And so this particular fellow he's from the Black Dragon family, and he's the head of it, and our cloaked figure basically kills him when he doesn't sell out, and everybody else there is dead as well. And then we see that this cloaked figure, who's the head of the Stoker International, whoever could this be? And we already talked about ads in the Drug Wars. I'm not going to go through these ads. They're all the same ads that were in Drug Wars. So anyway, and Batmania by our writer here, James Van Hise. So he has this female counterpart who is following him around and kind of acting as his confidant. And so there's all this talk about how she's trying to modernize him, and the old ways don't work. You can't just go around creating dead bodies everywhere. And he's like, I know, and that's why I keep you around, because you keep me in tune with the new ways and the way women are more strong nowadays, and blah 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 and stuff like that. So very interesting, and we just kind of see the interactions of his little helpers that he has cleaning up all the bodies and everything. So meanwhile, we cut back to this scene with this ninja lady who's fighting this sort of undead character. She does some kind of weird somersault flip. Nice fun little sequence here, and is able to escape. And he's all just, depressed and despondent, walking away. I really wish you could kill me. I really wish. So not a very happy character at all. So it doesn't really seem bloodthirsty like any of the other villains here. So we got a little interesting stuff going on there. So this lady, this ninja lady, we find out she's the last survivor of the Black Dragon Casino family. And she goes to another, I'm assuming Japanese casino holder, Japanese casino holder called the Golden Desert and their family. And she goes to actually warn them. I'm the last survivor. I'll let you know, when I need your help, but you can't contact me right now. I'll contact you because I got to stay off grid because these people are after me. And so a nice warning to him. And then cut over, and we see this really interesting sequence at Don Marco's casino where this young man comes in and turns into a werewolf. Yes, so now we got werewolves too. And he bursts in, causes some trouble, attacks some of the managers, goes to Don Marco's assistant, squeezes his arms, cuts him up, and basically tells him, you need to make sure and tell Don Marco he's got to sell. Take the offer or you guys are going down. So Don Marco sees what happens and he gets upset. Kind of, just a little sequence here about, discussing what they're going to do. And fun little, there's fun little things, that are said throughout this. Like, these guys are more than very serious, boss. They're dead serious. So not nice little play on words kind of stuff that happens throughout. And so we get Don Marco kind of walking around talking about how this city is his soul. It's everything to him. I mean, he doesn't just dress like Elvis just because it's fun. I mean, Vegas is everything to him. And then he gets an interaction with, we can assume, is the ninja lady. So she's in an alley trying to talk to him, trying to warn him as well, and basically telling him, I will contact you. And he's like, I don't even know who you are. I can't even see you. And she's like, it's for the best, so on and so forth. And so she's trying to pull together an entourage of people to combat this force of Stoker International. There's a gallery here coming up, but I want to wait. I actually feel like this gallery piece should have been, this centerfold piece should have been in the end. Unfortunately. So I'm going to kind of skip through it, but there is this is an image of the big boss of Stoker International, his confidant. So this is Tom Raney too. So definitely, when he's working in large, he can get large format, he can get really detailed, nice drawing, good ink work. But moving forward, we have Don Marco going to the casino, the Black Dragon Casino, because the ninja lady just let him know that Black Dragon was completely taken out. They weren't bought, as most people assumed. They were actually massacred. He goes to check it out and notices all these strange things happening. People washing up blood, horrible patch jobs being done on the machines that were broken and stuff. So he definitely is kind of seeing that, there was something bad that happened here. I recognize this kind of stuff. And he goes back to his office, and that confidant is waiting. I can't remember her name, but it's not important. That confidant was waiting for him there and trying to convince him, here's your final offer, sell to my master or to my boss, or you're going down and you're going to have to use those sword fighting skills of yours, which we're going to see soon. So anyway, then we get this character, a scene with this character that was at the very beginning, that was fighting this ninja lady with the fedora, talking to our big bad here. And upset at him, of course, because the ninja lady escaped. And what we get to find out here is that this guy is actually Frankenstein's monster. And he cannot die for some reason. He will not die. And he hates it. He wishes he could die. All this pain that he's carried over the centuries is stuck with him. He's completely depressed, and apparently the big bad of Stoker International is using him, and he hates it. But he's just along for the ride anyway. So we've got Frankenstein's monster walking around in a gangster fedora. Freaking awesome. So anyway, that ninja lady, which she's just become to be known as Black Dragon now. So she's just taken on the moniker of the family that she came from, the ninja mob family that she came from. And she's hiding out in some empty apartment complex and just has a random encounter with this janitor with one arm who apparently used to be a mercenary fighting for the army and stuff, and they have a little bit of an interaction and they have a conversation about everything that's going on. And he's like, you know what, I need some action, I'm willing to help you guys out to help clean up this town. So it's kind of a real random encounter, but it's cool because what they do is they go invade some other, and they pointed out some other Japanese casino. So it's like did the Japanese run Vegas for a while in the 80s? I need to know this, ladies and gentlemen. um, and there was some kind of trophy room of ancient weapons, and they stole this giant mace. So now he's known as Mace. So we got Black Dragon and we got Mace that are going to come and start fighting Stoker International and all these supernatural threats. So back to Don Marco's casino, we have his assistant doing some work, and then somebody breaks into the office, evidently, and then we have a bunch of Stoker International's men with guns coming into the casino itself, and they kind of go on a raid, and things get all crazy. There's a gunfight. Don Marco races up to his office, and there he finds the big bad, and the big bad, unfortunately, killed Don Marco's assistant, and or at least made him one of his servants even. So I think he's going to be undead in some way, shape, or form. And they have their little meeting and exchange. He's offering Don Marco one last time to sell. He's not going to, and so of course they grab swords, and we get a freaking sword fight between a man dressed as Elvis against, I mean, come on, I'm just going to say it's Count Dracula. If you haven't figured that out yet, then you need some help. But he definitely finds out that after stabbing him multiple times and he keeps getting up, that there's something freaky here. So he's going to try to take off, but then there's explosions that are going on. And Mace jumps into the fray. Mace is actually an explosives expert as well in the army, or he was in the army. So he's setting off explosions as diversions going on, and so him and Black Dragon swoop in to help rescue Don Marco. And so they all take off and they run into the sewers together to go fight another day. And at the very end, I mean, this is the reveal, but the big bad comes out and no one challenges Dracula and lives. And so this was like actually the major reveal, but you kind of figured it was Count Dracula anyway. So anyway, the big splash page, it's another piece by Tom Raney, but in black and white. And we get Mace and Black Dragon and Don Marco in Elvis regalia in the desert fighting against Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, his confidant, and the werewolf. Masterful. Just, I love it. And black and white, perfection. Beautiful. I want more of this series. Unfortunately, it never saw the light of day after this. There are... so I actually, in order to hunt this down, I found this on eBay, and James Van Hise himself is actually on eBay, not only selling this book, but also selling black and white photocopies of the inks of this work, which I bought as well, and I'll show in a second. And he's got a bigger package you can buy on eBay, where he has the scripts for issues 2 through 5 already written out, as well as notes and other stuff. I didn't splurge for that because it was a little out of my price range at the moment with all the other things that I'm buying and hunting down, and I've '3 kids getting ready to go to college, so couldn't quite do that just yet. But wow, so the idea was fleshed out. There was definitely a plan for 5 full issues, and we only got 1 apparently before Pioneer kind of went downhill a little bit. What I want to do is I want to get James Van Hise on the phone, see if he can jump on a Zoom call, and I can record an interview talking about his career and also the plans for this, and see if I can't, for an early Christmas present, just splurge for the scripts, and maybe we can go through some of them together and talk about some of the ideas. This book needs to be finished, ladies and gentlemen. We need to get Tom Raney on the phone to come and finish this work. I really liked this book a lot. It was so much fun. Again, there was a few places where the inks were a little heavy here, and there was even some text on some of those those like dark inks, and you can't see it very well. So the coloring, was a little off at some points, and didn't really. Sometimes this earlier coloring doesn't do the service of the inks. And sometimes it does, but here, again, I bought the photocopies as well that he is offering of the black and whites of this book. So here's the flash page, this splash page, wonderful piece. I mean, I could frame this. This is incredible. Love it. It's just like one of the most perfect images. We got our fight sequence here. You can definitely see the duotone or zipatone that was used. I always get it mixed up, duotone or zipatone. The zipatone that was used in some of these cases. I mean, I would like to just have a black and white version of this book. I mean, maybe it could be finished in just black and white. It's amazing. Heck, maybe we can even find an artist that would just finish this for James Van Hise. Because maybe he still owns the copyright, and we can just, get that taken care of. But well worth it. I mean, it was about $8 for the book and these all together, but I thought it was well worth it. So I'm going to talk to James Van Hise, see what the scripts would cost separately. Maybe I can get him on a Psychonaut session, talk with him again. You can see a lot of the zipatone that was used. It's a great effect. I love how this all looks. It was laid out so well. And again, this is Tom Raney's, some of his earliest work, I think. So, and he's been around for a while. And it's totally great. I love it. A little bit of mess up in the copier, I think. Had a lot of fun with this. I knew I was going to love this as soon as I saw the ad on the back of Drug Wars. I had to go hunt it down. I think that there should be a movie of this, and we could get Bruce Campbell to play Don Marco dressed as Elvis, because why not? He already played Elvis in Bubba Hotep, right? For anybody who hasn't seen Bubba Hotep, you need to go see it. Bruce Campbell plays an elderly man who thinks he's Elvis Presley in a nursing home, and his buddy, who's this older black man who believes he's John F. Kennedy. And so they're both kind of out there, and they fight against a zombie that tries to invade the nursing home. It's one of the best movies of all time. Really cool shot of Mace here. Just, I love that. I absolutely adore the black and whites of this as well. So I might pick a couple pages to have just hanging up in my studio. I mean, we got an image here of Dracula. Look at this. We have Dracula and Elvis sword fighting. If this doesn't satisfy any human being's need, then seriously, you need to check your pulse. Something's wrong with you. So that's basically it. 24 solid pages. One of the better 80s comics, in my opinion, of one of those companies that I wish could have stuck around, because Lord have mercy. What is a world without Vegas Nights? So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Vegas Nights, long time coming for me. I was totally excited about this. Glad to be able to share it with you. I will let you know if I can get James Van Hise on the phone and see if we can't get him on for a Psychonaut session. But until then, you all out there, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and keep it psycho.